You're listening to the Jewish Entrepreneur Podcast with Debbie Sasson, episode number 192. Welcome to the Jewish Entrepreneur Podcast. I'm your host, Debbie Sasson. I went from being a financial advisor, author, and chronic under-earner to building my business to six figures as a financial planner and money mindset coach, and then onto multiple six figures as a full-time money and business coach. I help entrepreneurs create money-making businesses and build wealth using sales and money mindset strategies and in alignment with authentic Jewish values. Now, let's dive in to today's show. Hello, my friends, and welcome back to the podcast. I am so excited to talk to you today. I have a fabulous episode planned on the ABCs of falling in love with your business. But before we jump into the episode, I want to remind you that my new money community, Worthy Money, is live and kicking, and the conversations in the community are fantastic. People are really bringing up the messages that they heard from their parents about money, what's possible, what's not possible, where they feel shy raising their prices. Should they target higher income earners, wealthier people with their businesses, or should they try to serve everybody? And is there even such a thing as having a joyful, loving relationship with money? If you haven't yet joined us in Worthy Money, this is your time. Go to my website, debbiesasson.com/worthy, and join us. There are over 25 women already in the community, and we are on track to change our relationship with money, to heal the past, to put systems in place, to manage and track our money, grow and multiply our money, and vision. What do we want to do? What is the purpose and legacy that we want to have in this world with our money? So go now, debbiesasson.com/worthy, and I look forward to seeing you in the community. Now, let's dive into today's episode because we want to get to the basics, the brass tacks of what it takes to build a business that you love. And I decided to really go back to grade school, ABC, and this is really what it takes to build a business that you love. The first one is alignment. Now, I have to say, as a coach and a marketer, I don't like the word alignment. If you ask ChatGPT to help you with your copy, it's going to give you that word alignment, and it is such coach speak. I want to be aligned. I want alignment, right? And most people, most civilians, as I like to say, don't even know what that word means. Then maybe, like, if you are working only with coaches, only with healers, we can talk about alignment. But I decided that I was going to use it anyway, but I'm going to explain it. If you think about alignment, it's a line, it's straight. And when we're working in our businesses, we want to make sure that we are feeling good, straight, grounded with the business model that we've chosen. Some people have the ability to be out on stage. They feel great. They get energized by being in a room with a lot of people. Some people prefer to be on video. Some people prefer to be on audio, or all sorts of different ways of running your business. But really, especially if you are in the newer stages of your business, and I do believe that we can grow and we can grow outside our comfort zone and we can do new things in our business, but especially in the beginning when you are just like figuring things out and getting started, you want to make sure that your energy, how you like to show up in the world. Like, I did public speaking classes when I was in high school. I went to speech and debate class. For me to get up and speak into a microphone, or for me to show up on a webinar or masterclass, it's not like I wasn't nervous the first few times that I did it, but it was already in alignment. It was already congruent with who I was as a person. So if you feel better speaking, or if you want to speak to people one-to-one, figure out how you can meet people either on coffee dates, or you go to networking meetings where you stick by the coffee machine and you only have to speak with a few people at a time. But understand, how does your energy body react to a lot of people? There is so much overwhelming in your business that you want to make sure that you are showing up as your best self and know where you are going to need to stretch outside your comfort zone. And like, don't stretch yourself so much that you're like rubber band is going to snap. Stretch, become bigger, increase your capacity, but don't stretch so far that you're just going to shut down. So that's like one part of alignment. The second part of alignment is really what I thought was the most important is your values, right? I speak specifically to people who are God centered, who we believe that there is a God, that there's a source, that there is a creator of the world, and not everybody in the world agrees with me. Now, we do hope that one day, very soon in our days, everybody will agree with me and they will all believe in one God. But today, today, that's not the way it is. So you don't have to speak with all the people, all 8 billion people in the world. Focus on your values, what's important to you, and make sure that your business is consistent with, it is in alignment with your values. And this really goes beyond spirituality. But if your family is a big value, which for so many of my clients, it is, right? We value our families. Make sure that you're not working 20 hours a day in your business. And I understand that you're in your business, you need to earn money, you want to earn money. I'm like, all go for it. Make all the money, invest it, build wealth, share it, build that legacy that we were talking about and we'll be speaking about in Worthy Money. But you have to make sure that the way you're growing your business isn't like knocking down another value in your life. If your family is a value, if relationships are a value, if nature is a value, like understand, like really do yourself an exercise and just pull back. What are the top 3 things that I value in my life? What are the top 5 things that I value in my life? Now, you can't have 20 values that are all going to create like top priority in your life. There are going to be things that are going to be less, like maybe an organized house, right? I was speaking with one of my clients today and she said, yeah, she has let her house, like it's not like a mess, but she said, I've learned to like live with B minus in my house because it's important for me to show up for my business, grow, serve my people, because that's also going to fill me up and bring money into the family. And that's also going to really tick boxes of both family and money and service and personal satisfaction. So really think about, and if you want to, you can go online and you can find like what are 20 top values and you can choose which ones you want. Is it your family? Is it fun? Is it free time? Like figure out what are the values that are most important to you and then circle like 2 or 3 or 5 values and figure out how your business is going to sort of dance between the raindrops to make sure that your values are being preserved in your life as you grow your business. Because as I said again, if your business is taking up 20 hours of your day and you might say, okay, this is the beginning phase of my business. I'm going to let it go and I'm going to go full steam ahead for the next 6 months, 20 hours a day. And yeah, sometimes that needs to happen. Anybody who's been in law school or med school, not including me, they will have a time in their life that it's going to be very, very intense. And the goal is that after you've gotten your degree, then you can go on and your life can be a little bit more normal. So know what your values are. And then also what has to be in alignment is your identity. Who are you when you are building your business? Now, most of us think of ourselves as the thing we do. So I can think of myself as a coach, right? I'm a business coach, I'm a money coach, and what I do in the world is I do coaching. But really, if you are a business owner, your identity has to be as a CEO. Your identity is someone who is growing a business. The service of your company, even if it's a small company, it's just you, but the service provided by your company or the product that's provided by your company is the thing that you do. You might design websites. You might be a dance teacher or a photographer or a coach like I am. But when you are running a business, you need to be in alignment. You need to accept upon yourself the reality that you are a CEO. As a CEO who is building a business, you want to be focused on making sure that your business is profitable. So sometimes that might mean that you have to like work a few extra hours, even if family is your value. But sometimes you have to be the one at the end of the day who closes the door, shuts the light, sweeps the floor, and does all that stuff. So make sure that you realize what your true identity is as the CEO of the business and what the responsibilities of the CEO are. You need to market, which means you need to create demand, make sure the word gets out onto the streets, virtual and otherwise, that you are a going concern and people can come to you, they can pay you money. Be the identity of a CEO. A CEO wants to receive money to keep her business going. So make sure your identity is in alignment with what's actually happening in the business world. You need to ask for money, receive money, process money, and do your books to make sure that your business is being profitable. You also need to plan and strategize for the future. You need to look at what's been working in your business, what has not been working in your business, and what are the next steps that your business needs to take to keep going and growing and serving more people. So that's A, alignment. Now let's talk about B, and this is huge, and that is belief. Anytime you are building a business, your level of belief is so key to your success. You have a product, you have a service, you have to believe so hard in what you are delivering to your clients. And this is harder for people who are newer in business because they don't have as much evidence. You have to do the work, the mindset work to really believe in the value that you deliver. I was speaking with somebody yesterday, in fact, who just joined my program, Worthy Money, and she's a coach. And she's like, but maybe I need to do some more coach training. And I'm like, why? Do your clients get good results? And she's like, yeah. Right. Our belief, our mindset is so important. There are a million different trainings that you can do and more certifications, and you can improve your skills. That is true. We can all do better. We can learn. We can grow. And if you're growing a business and you're doing this thing that's pretty unusual, it's not the average. Most of the people in the world, all over the world, will be working in a 9 to 5 job, letting somebody else do all this management stuff, this CEO work that we do as business owners. So if you are not the average person and you are growing your business, you have to manage your mind and you have to come back to yourself, to your identity, and believe in what your business is delivering. Again, you're the CEO. You also happen to be the main worker in your business many times. So you as the CEO have to believe in you, the worker. I like to split it up between queen bee and worker bee. So you, the queen bee CEO, needs to believe in the worker bee, that she is doing her work and she is providing good services. And if she really does need some extra training, because we all do need to brush up our skills here and there, then you can do that, but from a strategic point of view. But really spend your time as the CEO of your business believing in the value of what you deliver. Believe in how the lives of your clients and customers will be transformed when they work with you or when they buy your product, when they join your communities. Like, really, this is where your brain has to be so on board with what you are doing, believing hard in you as the worker bee, believing hard in the service or product that you deliver, and believing in your clients. You really need to believe that you have customers out there in the world. And you don't need 8 billion people in the world. This goes back to the alignment. Make sure that your clients are aligned with who you are, aligned with your values, aligned with your mission, because there are lots of businesses out there. You don't have to serve all the people in the world. So make sure that you know what your values are and believe that there are people out there who are similar enough to you and they want what you offer. If you are not seeing the evidence yet in cash, meaning people are not coming, they're not coming in droves, they're not paying you lots and lots and lots of money yet, then the question is why? And it's really going to be a matter of looking at your numbers, looking at what we call your KPIs, your key performance indicators. Are you doing enough advertising? Are you letting enough people know that you exist? Are you going to networking meetings? Are you advertising on social media? Are you advertising on, do you have a website? How do people reach out to you and find out about you? And by the way, let's just have a little side note there, talking about values, because I just mentioned the word social media. If being on social media is against your values, and I 100% get that, if that's where you want to be, then make sure that you figure out a different way to market your business. You don't have to be on social media. I do happen to be on social media, but if you don't want to be because that's not in alignment with your values, you have to figure out ways that you can market your business and get the message out there that you exist and you have a valuable product or valuable services to offer your people, and make sure that that's something that happens. So figure out what is the way that you want to reach your people. You must be marketing your business. Really, if you go back to that CEO identity, the number one thing that you need to be doing to create a steady, consistent, cash flow in your business is making sure that you have clients. Make sure that there is demand for what you offer, which means that you need to probably be marketing at least twice as hard or 4 times as hard as you're already doing. So believe in yourself. Believe in the value of your business, the value of the product or the service that you deliver, and believe that your clients are out there in the world. And it is your job, it is your responsibility as a CEO to figure out ways to meet them and invite them into your containers. That's B. And finally, C. There are so many C's that I could choose from. I did a podcast episode probably about a year ago, what I learned from Dan Sullivan. He has his 4C model, and I'm going to pick one of the C's, which I think is the most important of all of them. They're all important: commitment, capability, confidence. I'm going to focus right now on courage. Actually had to ask ChatGPT, what's the difference between bravery and courage? Because I was thinking a little bit about making the B bravery and making the C commitment. And now that I've totally confused you with the ABCs, what ChatGPT told me is that bravery is action in the presence of danger. Like if, God forbid, your child falls into the pool, you like dive in full clothed with your phone in your pocket into the pool to save the child's life. But courage is action in the presence of fear. And I'm like, yes, I need to talk about courage because when we're building a business, so much fear comes up. The fear that you're an imposter, the fear that nobody's going to buy, fear that you're going to show up on a podcast and stumble over your words, fear that you're going to go to a networking event and you're not going to know how to give your elevator pitch, fear that you're going to put something in an email or social media and you're going to have haters out there. There is so much fear that comes up when you're building a business, and fear feels terrible. And courage feels terrible because your body is shaking. Your brain has been wired to protect you. Your brain doesn't want you to feel uncomfortable. It wants to avoid pain. It wants you to have a pleasurable experience. It wants to go to the beach. It wants to lay in the sun. It wants to drink another coffee and eat some more chocolate. I am always down for chocolate. But your brain does not want to experience rejection. It doesn't want you to send out an email and then have 10 people unsubscribe from your list. Your brain doesn't want you to schedule a webinar and nobody comes. Your brain doesn't want you to do anything that is going to grow you and stretch you outside your comfort zone because that's just not the way your primitive brain has been wired. Your primitive brain wants you to conserve your energy so that in case you are attacked by a saber-toothed tiger, you have a lot of resources to run away. Your brain wants you to be lazy and it wants to protect you. So when you feel fear, when you're worried about people saying, I can't believe she raised her prices. Who does she think she is? How dare she? And you're just feeling everybody's like judgments. You have these voices in your head and probably shame written all over your face. And you're just like want to shut down. That is when you have to like really muster up your courage to keep going in your business. And I had this today with one of my clients. We were on our weekly call for Wired for Wealth, and she's thinking about a new offering in her business. And we're trying to figure out what for her feels intuitively like the right price. And I have to tell you, I am very into pricing intuitively because there is no one price in the market. There will always be people who will be asking you for a lower price, telling you it's too much, thinking you shouldn't charge that much. There's a different offering over there. And what about like her, like that? You get to charge whatever you want in your business. And I love what Oprah Winfrey says. You don't get what you deserve. You get what you have the courage to ask for. Speaking of courage, that wasn't planned. So really, when you feel more courageous, and I don't think that you should just like throw a price on something and just say, this is, $100,000 without doing your belief work, believing in you, what you deliver, and the value that your clients are going to get for the long term of paying that price. I'm not just saying slap a price on and be courageous and go for it. You have to do your belief work and understand why what you're delivering is so valuable for like the next year, 5 years, 10 years. There's a lot of work that you have to do behind that. And then even still, you need to feel courageous. You need to like summon up that courage. It's going to feel so hard because your brain is going to be resisting at 200 miles an hour, wanting to stop you from saying that price. And you need to get it out of your mouth and say it again and again and again. In fact, a few weeks ago, I have to say, my daughter, Leni Schultz, was on the podcast and we were talking about her raising her prices. And she quoted her new prices to two people, both of whom said no. And then this week she called me so happy because she quoted her new price to a third person and the person said yes. She overcame her fears. She was willing to summon up her courage. And she doesn't even know that I'm shouting her out again, but I'm so proud of her. She's my daughter. I get to do this all the time if I want to. But she did have someone say yes to her higher prices because she was willing to feel uncomfortable the first time, the second time, and finally on the third time, she got a yes. And so as I was doing my work with my client, we were really trying to drop into her body and feel intuitively what's the right price for this new offering. And especially with a new offering, you might offer a price and you just don't know. And you might actually deliver the service and be like, oh my gosh, I put so much time and effort into that specific offering that I am way underpricing. And that's beautiful information because you found out something new that you never would have known if you hadn't shared something new with the world and put an intuitive price on it, been courageous, and now all of a sudden you have some information back and you can use that information to continue to raise your prices, grow your business, reach out to a different kind of client who's going to be more in alignment. There's that sneaky word again with what you're doing in your business. So the more courageous you are, the more you go beyond the comfort zone that you naturally have to keep you safe. When you take more risks in your business, that's when you have the opportunity to really build something spectacular and fabulous. The reason that I have been able to grow a 7-figure business is because I keep growing, I keep evolving, I keep stretching myself outside my comfort zone. This podcast has been around now, oh my gosh, it's almost my 4-year anniversary. It has been around, and I remember the first podcast episodes where I was stumbling over my tongue. It took me like 3 days to come up with an outline for my podcast, and now I do it smoothly. I'm thinking in the shower, ABC, getting some ideas together. Yes, I had to ask ChatGPT what's the difference between courage and bravery and change up my outline at the last minute. But I know my business so well at this point that it doesn't take me 3 days to prepare an outline for my podcast episode. So I really want you to keep being courageous. What is challenging for you today will not be challenging for you in 6 months from now. And what you're going to do, the new things that you haven't even created yet in 6 months from now or a year from now, like those will be new mountains to climb. Those will be new challenges. As long as you keep being courageous, keep stretching outside your comfort zone, keep staying in alignment with your values and wearing that identity of being a CEO and believing in yourself and in your business and your clients. And hey, let's be honest, most of your future clients, they don't even know your name yet. They haven't heard about you because you just haven't allowed yourself to expand into new arenas. So keep going, my friend. Reflect on your values. Come back to who you are. Come back to your center. Stay grounded in your alignment and your values. Believe in yourself so hard and keep being courageous. Those are the ABCs of building a business that you will stay in love with again and again and again. All right, my friends, I look forward to seeing you next week on the Jewish Entrepreneur Podcast. And I want to remind you that if you have not yet joined our community, Worthy Money, that is the place to be to change your relationship with money, to heal your past, to build systems, and to grow beautiful wealth for you and your family. DebbieSasson.com/worthy. And I will see you next week on the Jewish Entrepreneur Podcast. Bye-bye for now. Thanks for listening to the Jewish Entrepreneur Podcast. If you want to stop underselling and under-earning and close more sales, you need to clear the limiting money beliefs that are sabotaging your business growth. Head on over to DebbieSasson.com/mindset and download my free Money Mindset Workbook. Uncover and dissolve money blocks like hundreds of other entrepreneurs who are now building 6, multi-6, and 7-figure businesses and creating true financial freedom.